is made of lies. But speaking one to one, ain't it everybody's son to wake up in the morning when we rise? Let me hear you now. Come and sing the simple song of freedom. Sing it like you've never sung before. Let it fill the air, tell the people everywhere, we the people here don't know no war. No doubt some folks enjoy doing battle, like presidents, prime ministers, and kings. So let's all build them shells so they can fight among themselves and leave the people be who love to sing. Hey, come and sing the simple song of freedom. Sing it like you've never sung before. Let it fill the air, tell the people everywhere, we the people here don't want no war. I said let it fill the air, tell the people everywhere, we the people here don't want no war. Now, when do we start with the medley? When do we commence?
She's going to do the gong at 10, and then do
the gospel medley.
Then do announcements, and then we'll then it's going to be in place of the prelude.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Good.
You know, I've sung that way for 20 years.
Okay, you go for it.
Let's see. Are we going to just, you want to sit here or you want to do some more singing?
Do some more singing.
Let's see what we could do. Let's do Country Road Step.
Sure, yeah. Sure.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like a breeze. Country road, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home down the country road. All my memories gather round her, miner's lady, stranger to blue water. Sing along with us. Dark and dusty, painted on the sky, misty taste of moonshine, teardrops in my eyes. Country road, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home down a country road. I hear a voice in the morning hour, she calls me. Radio reminds me of my home far away. Driving down the road, I get a feeling I should have been home yesterday. Yesterday, sing it with us. Country road, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home down a country road. One more time. Take me home, country road, to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home down a country road. Take me home down a country road. Thank you. you.
You
Thank
want
you.
this to be done? No. We'll let her start it in a couple of minutes. We're not quite ready for the gong. We'll wait till 10 o'clock.
So you don't want to take any breaks on medley. You want to sing one? I read about it in the book of Revelation.
Let's remain seated and speak to each other in worthy recognition and dignity. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Transylvania County. All are welcome here as each individual brings the light of their being to enrich the entirety of this congregation. If you are visiting here today, please join us for our coffee hour after the service to get to know us. I have about 3 announcements this morning. Registration is still open for the UUTC annual retreat at the mountain. It's being held from Sunday, October 12th through Tuesday, October 14th. The registration deadline is September 28th, so if you haven't registered and you want to, it's time to do it. You can do that online at the Mountain website or ask Tricia for help if you're having any difficulties. Okay, Michael Solomon has asked me to let you know that yesterday's campus vision update here at UUTC was well attended. For those of you unable to attend and interested in the status and scope of the project, there is a handout on the counter in the foyer. Please feel free to take one after the service. One more on Sunday, October 5th at 3:30 p.m. Next Sunday at the Lutheran Church of the Good Shepherd, Dr. Mel Bringle, a hymn writer, hymnal editor, and Brevard College professor, will offer a free talk that takes a peek behind the curtain at how contemporary hymn poets address the issues of multi-faith communities, the complexities of racial and gender justice, and other social issues. This morning, we are honored to welcome Reverend Ernie Mills, our beloved minister emeritus. Reverend Mills served faithfully, guiding us with wisdom, compassion, and unwavering dedication. His legacy continues to inspire us, and we are deeply grateful for his presence in our congregation today. We will now center for worship with our prelude.
Of gospel songs, please feel free to sing along with us if you'd like to. We'll start out with "The Will the Circle Be Unbroken." Now will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by. There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. Well, I was standing by my window on a cold and cloudy day, and I saw that hearse come rolling for to carry my mother away. the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by. There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. Well, I told that undertaker, undertaker, please drive slow. For that body that you are hauling, Lord, I hate to see her go. Now will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by. There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. Little do, Lord, now. Do, Lord, oh, do, Lord, oh, do remember me. Do, Lord, oh, do, Lord, do remember me. Do, Lord, oh, do, Lord, do remember me. Look away beyond the blue. Well, I got a home in glory land that outshines the sun. Yeah, I got a home in glory land that outshines the sun. I got a home in glory land that outshines the sun. Look away beyond the blue horizon. Do, Lord, oh, do remember me. Yeah, do, Lord, oh, do remember me. Do, Lord, oh, do remember me. Look away beyond the blue. You got one you want to sing?
Well, I read about it in the book of Revelation. You read it too.
Whoa.
Oh, I read about it in the book of Revelation. You read it too. Well, I read about it in the book of Revelation. You read it too.
Look away beyond the blue horizon. Do, Lord, oh, do remember me. Do, Lord, oh, do remember me. Do, Lord, do remember me. Look away beyond the blue. Well, I saw the light. I saw the light. Yeah, no more darkness, no more night. Now I'm so happy, no sorrow inside. Praise the Lord, I saw the light. Now will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by. There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. In the sky, Lord, in the sky. We'll just stay up here and keep doing this if you want us to.
We light this chalice for the web of life which sustains us, for the sacred circle of life in which we have our being, for the earth, the sky above and below, and for our Mother Earth, and for the mystery. This was by Paul Spector. It's over here. This is our time for us to acknowledge each other's joys and sorrows. Christine, if you would come forward. can face out.
Okay. Barbara Janowitz was a perfect example of how we welcome everyone to this church, no matter what their background. She contributed a lot in her career. She went overseas and taught the people about birth control, and was faithfully here every Sunday, and we will certainly miss her.
We'll light a candle for those joys or concerns that are left unspoken this morning. We lift you up to the love in our congregation and the universe, that you may be acknowledged and blessed. Our opening words this morning are a unison reading, number 440 from the hymnal, From the Fragmented World. Words are on the screen. Okay. You guys will read the yellow, I'll do the top line. From the fragmented world of our everyday lives, we gather together in search of wholeness.
By many cares and preoccupations, by diverse and selfish aims, are we separated from one another and divided within ourselves.
Yet we know that no branch is utterly severed from the tree of life that sustains us all.
We cherish our oneness with those around us and the countless generations that have gone before us.
We would hold fast to all of good we inherit, even as we would leave behind us the outworn and the false.
We would escape from bondage to the ideas of our own day and from the delusions of our own fancy.
Let us labor in hope for the dawning of a new day without hatred, violence, and injustice.
Let us nurture the growth in our own lives of the love that is shown in the lives of grace and men and women, the rays of whose lamps still illumine our life.
In this spirit we gather, in this spirit we pray. Our opening hymn this morning is number 126, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. Please rise as you can and sing. Come thou fount of every blessing, tune our hearts to sing thy praise. Streams of mercy never ceasing, offer songs of loudest praise. Now the hope of life's perfection fills our hearts with joy and love. Teach us ever to be faithful, may we still thy goodness prove. On the fount of every vision, lift our eyes to what may come. See the light
Good morning, everyone. My name's Kevin Lausch, and I work in the family ministries. And so happy to have everybody here today. Today's lesson or words of wisdom is called The Apple Tree's Gift. It's a Mabon wisdom tale. Well, once there was a community in a valley, lots of trees between the hills, much like where we live here. And there was a very old tree there, and they called it the grandmother apple tree because that tree was the oldest around, and it always gave its fruits, its gifts at just the right time. It always gave its fruits when there was the fall festival celebrating the balance of the light and the dark this time of year. And the fruits that it gave, sometimes they were kind of yellowish, sometimes they were red, sometimes they were green, they were tart or they were sweet, but what it gave was always nourishing and wonderful for everybody around. And people always look forward to the festival time because they wait till the apples were just right, and then they would pick them and they would take them home and they'd eat them, and they might make pies out of them, they might make ciders, jellies, bake into bread, slice them and dry them and enjoy them that way. Well, one year, as the fall festival was getting nearer, Grandmother Apple Tree, her apples became ripe a little bit too early. And everyone was looking at them going, wow, they're ready to pick right now. What should we do? Well, a few people walked up when no one was really looking. They grabbed a few and said, you know, there might not be enough when the festival finally gets here, so I'll take a few. So another few people, they looked and they saw that maybe a few less apples on the tree, so they took a few also. And then a few other people did the same until finally there were hardly any apples on the tree when the festival came. And people were a little suspicious of each other and a little guilty themselves because they were taking from the common good and not leaving much for others. Well, there was an old grandmother there who had known Grandmother Apple Tree as she had grown up as a person. And she thought about it, and she took an apple out of her pocket that she had taken, and she walked back up, and she put it back at the base of Grandmother Apple Tree. And a few other people saw that, and they brought forth their apples too. A few of them brought forth jugs of cider, and some brought back sliced dried apples or an apple pie. And everybody got together again, and they celebrated the Fall Equinox Festival. And they were happy together, and they shared the fruits of what they had to give. And the festival became more about giving to the community and less about just taking what there was. So I hope we can all do this in this time of the balancing the light and the dark and the fall equinox in Mabon. Let's remember our community needs us. Let's give to it. Let's give what we have to share. Let's give our courage and our hope. And now I'm going to ask Eli Seafelt to come up with our kids' candle, and we're going to light it and sing them out.
We'll ask our ushers to come forward. At this time, we will take our offerings, the time to give from your hearts to support this congregation and our wider community. Our charitable giving this month goes to Brevard Meals on Wheels, and you'll find the envelope for that in the offering plate.
We're going to sing this next song. It's, well, I learned it from Peter, Paul, and Mary. It's If I Were Free. And if you'd like to sing along, know the words, please feel free to do that. If I were free. If I were free to speak my mind, I'd tell a tale to all mankind of how the flowers do bloom and fade This weary world has had its fill of words of war on every hill. The time has come for peaceful days and peaceful men with peaceful ways. If I were free to speak my mind, I'd tell a tale to all mankind of how the flowers do bloom and fade, of how we fought and how we paid. When all mankind has ceased to fight, I'll raise my hands in thanks each night for this rich earth and all it brings of golden days and peaceful dreams. If I were free to speak my mind, I'd tell a tale to all mankind of how the flowers do bloom and fade, of how we fought and how we paid.
Thank you both, and thank you for your generous gifts.
You heard about that mega minister that took the offering back in his office, and he said, "All right, God, what I'm going to throw up belongs to you, and what comes down belongs to me." For our meditation, I'm using something from our hymnal, a reading from our hymnal. It's one of my favorites. It's really a prayer for forgiveness. And I'll read it to you if you want to read along with me, though it's in your hymnal, it's 496. From arrogance, pompousness, and from thinking ourselves more important than we are, may some saving sense of humor liberate us. For allowing ourselves to ridicule the faith of others, may we be forgiven. For making war and calling it peace, special privilege and calling it justice, indifference and calling it tolerance, pollution and calling it progress, may we be cured. For telling ourselves and others that evil is inevitable while good is impossible, may we stand corrected. God of our mixed up, tragic, aspiring, doubting, and insurgent lives, help us to be as good in our hearts as we have always wanted to be. Amen. We have an anthem, right? You say something about it?
Well, this is a great song by a,
We hope you think so too.
a folk singer named Joe Jenks, who is part of a trio called Brother Son, which is no longer together, but they were really wonderful. And this is, oh, and it's John Austin at the piano.
Oh, yes, please, yeah. I feel the current raging around me. Try to summon up my strength once more. I am weary on this journey, afraid I might not reach that distant shore.
I cry for help, help, feel like I'm sinking. There is no one near me I can see, but there you are in the water with me. You take my hand and guide me graciously. Will you come with me on this journey? Every breath we take, keep reaching for the dawn. I know alone I will falter, but with a good friend near me, I will carry on.
There is a kindness in your smile,
And a gentleness within your speech.
you assure me your love surrounds me,
And I know safety is at last within my reach. Will you come with me on this journey? Every breath we take, keep reaching for the dawn. I know alone I will falter, but with a good friend near me, I will carry on.
It's an illusion we carry with us as we wade on through the waters of our lives, that we must be strong and hold our own here. But a helping hand will save us by and by. Will you come with me on this journey? Every breath we take, keep reaching for the dawn. I know alone I will falter, but with a good friend near me, I will carry on. With a good friend near me, I will carry on. Thank you, James and John. And John. Let's see, where are we? We are, okay, we're at responsive reading, number 660, by Henry David Thoreau, To Live Deliberately. Oh, okay, it's up there. Why should we live in such a hurry and waste of life?
We are determined to be starved before we are hungry.
I wish to live deliberately to front only the essential facts of life.
I wish to learn what life has to teach, and not, when I come to die, discover that I have not lived it.
I do not wish to live what is not life. Living is so dear.
Nor do I wish to practice resignation, unless it is quite necessary.
I wish to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life.
I want to cut
If it proves to be mean, then to get to the whole and genuine meanness of it and publish its meaning, its meanness to the world. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's good to be here, and it's great to be alive in Transylvania County. I want to say to you all, my years here at UUTC were the best years of my career in the ministry, and I really mean that. You all were so supportive of me and my family, and I know you're supportive of Rob as well, and I want to thank Rob. Is he here? Okay, he skipped out today. Okay, took a vacation. Good for him. I want to thank him, and I want to thank Janice for putting this together, and Catherine and Doug and everyone else who makes this happen. You know, really in a way, the person up here speaking is the front man or front woman, and they're really standing on the shoulders of a lot of people who have done a lot of things to make it happen. I wish to learn what life has to teach, and not when I come to die, discover that I have not lived. You know, those are words from the reading by Henry David Thoreau. And I suppose that's probably the worst experience any of us can have, is to come to the end of our lives and think to ourselves that question, did I really live? As most of you know, I was raised in the United Methodist Church, and when I saw the light, I came here. Any other United Methodist here? I know Gene is. Okay. You Methodists may recall the one of those standard Methodist hymns written by John's brother Charles. The title was, "And Are We Yet Alive?" Kind of an intriguing question when you think about it. Are we yet alive? And I remember singing that hymn. I love the melody, but you know, as a kid growing up, I never thought about the words, and I never really thought about that question. And I suppose if you would have asked me when I was young, you know, are we yet alive? And if you asked that from the pulpit, I would have said, yeah, we're alive. We're here, aren't we? We're breathing. Our senses are intact. Our hearts are beating. All the signs of life, that is biological life. But you and I know that Charles was meant more than that when he asked the question, are you yet alive? Are we yet alive? So I ask you that question this morning, as I ask myself often, are you really living life to the fullest? Are you alive? Now, I can't answer that question for you, only you can answer it. But I hope that through this message this morning, we'll have a little bit of a sense of what it means to be alive. And there's so much that could be said about that. We'd be here the rest of the day if we wanted to talk about really being fully alive and what that means. So I hope just to kind of touch on some things about that, what it means to me anyway, to be fully alive. I had a synchronistic experience as I was preparing the sermon, because at the same time I was working on the sermon, I was reading a book on the history of science, which I think is pretty fascinating. And there was a section in that book on the history of biology. And it was absolutely fascinating to me. And it really dealt with a controversy that happened at the early turn of the 20th century, when two sides, biologists were broken apart, and there were two sides that were arguing for their point of view. I think we might have some quotes from those, but let me give you those two different viewpoints in biology. On one side, you had the mechanist, who believed that life could be reduced to physical, chemical laws, and that in essence, humans were just machines. And they believed that finally they would be able to create life in a lab or in a factory. This is from one of those mechanists, a quote from him, J. Loeb, 1890. We have only to improve our experimental techniques in order to generate life in a test tube. Now, I think we're already doing that, aren't we? For the chemistry of the living organism is fundamentally identical with that of the laboratory and the factory. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, that's a forecast of AI. Man, that's the way I see that. Now, on the other side, we're the vitalist. And they argue that you can't fully account for life just on a physical, chemical basis. That there was something in life that you couldn't put under a microscope, and you won't be able to produce it in a test tube or in a factory. And that side was from Dretsch, I guess is the way you pronounce his name, 1909. He said, the entelechy, or soul or psyche, he had a hard time trying to find a word for it, is the formative power of the organism. Different from the physiochemical forces and not to be set on the same level with them. All merely physical or chemical factors are but means employed by the organism. They do not make life, though they are used by life and enlisted in its service. Now, the more I thought about that controversy, it seemed to me that really what they were talking about was not about life, but really the difference between life and living. And that's the way I saw that. That there's just a part of living that we're never going to be able to put under a microscope. And we're never going to be able to produce it in a factory. And as advanced as we get in AI, and I think AI is great because it corrects a lot of what I would be telling you with it would be misinformation. So anytime I look something up, it says AI, so I can get it right. I'll ask a question that says, no, you're wrong. And I think there's a lot of advancements, of course, that have been made on the basis of the physical, chemical makeup of us humans. And so you have one branch of biology saying biology is equal to physics, which eventually will be able to reduce to mechanics and mathematics. And the other side saying, wait a minute, there's an aspect of biology that has to do with the human soul. And whatever you want to call it, psyche, soul, inner life, that's what I mean by soul, really, is your inner life. What's going on inside of you? And I remind myself constantly, it's not the house you live in. It's what's living inside of you. It's not a car you drive. It's what's driving you. And only you know that. Only you know that. If we talk about living our lives, we could just as well talk about dying our lives. But we're living, but we're really dead. You know, when Martin Luther King said, if a person is afraid to stand up for justice, their death is a belated announcement of an earlier death of the spirit. We can't be afraid and we can't cave into fear with what's going on in our world today. We're seeing a lot of that. But we're dead if we cave into our fears. You know, the difference between life and living is not a new modern idea. It's been around for ages. One of my favorite philosophers is Democritus of the 5th century B.C.E. or Democritus. You can say it either way. He had a reputation for being the laughing philosopher. Anyway, he had some things to say about life. One of them is a very catchy phrase. He said, to live badly is not to live badly, it's just to take a long time dying. I like that. He had a lot of things to say about living badly, but he also had a lot of things to say about what it meant to live your life as fully as you could. And there are 390 quotes from him, and I'm going to read them to you. No, there's 4 that I picked out of 309. He had a few good things to say about living. Life is not worth living for the man or woman who has not even one good friend. I hope you have a good friend. Happiness, like unhappiness, is a property of the soul. Nothing out there is going to make you happy if you don't find it in here. You know, I think, no, I won't go there. I'm getting off, and I do that. We'll be here too long. But anyway, he said, I love this one. He said, people are fools who hate life and yet wish to live because they're afraid of Hades. They're afraid of going to hell. Oh, I hate this life. It's miserable. I wish it was over. But wait a minute. I might go to hell if I... Just doesn't make sense, does it? I love this one. This is the last one I'll give you. I alone know that I know nothing. You know, I don't know what your experience is, but my experience is the older I get, the more I realize I don't know anything at all. Really. When I graduated from seminary, I thought I knew it all. You know, man, I'm going to lay it on them, you know. All this knowledge and all this divinity stuff. And, you know, the older I get, the more I really don't know much at all, you know. I've looked at life from both sides now, from win and lose, and still somehow it's life's illusions I recall. Life at all. I love that song. I really don't know life at all. Who wrote that? All right. I wrote that. No, Joni wrote that. My wife has a little board she writes quotes on every now and then just to remind her of, you know, something. And she has on the board now, what we know is a drop and what we don't know is an ocean. What we know is a drop, what we don't know is an ocean. And I love these words by Wendell Berry. It may be that when we no longer know what to do, we have come to our real work. And when we no longer know which way to go, we have begun our journey. The mind that is not baffled is not employed. The impeded stream is the one that sings. The impeded stream is the one that sings. I love that Hindu saying, the one who says he or she knows does not know. And the one who says he or she does not know knows. So I know that I don't know. You know, we have this notion that, and I have it, that we can go through life and live in our heads and be just hyper rational and reasonable, and that life is just a matter, living is just a matter of having the right answer to the right question. One of the greatest scientists of modern times, I had this to say. I'll give you the quote and see if you can tell me who said it. The most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. Einstein. It is the source of all true art and science. He or she to whom this emotion, not talking about here, we're talking about emotion. He or she to whom this emotion is a stranger who can no longer pause to wonder and stand wrapped in awe is as good as dead. There's your death when you stop wondering. And wonder is all around us, you know. So keep that wonder alive. That's the child in you, you know. Speaking of art, I was in a class, I took a course in theater when I was out in Los Angeles, and the professor walked in one day and asked the class, he said, well, what's the purpose of the theater? And one of the students said, well, you can't eat it. Right. It serves no biological need. And yet we have it. What physical, chemical need does the theater meet? What does art that has no practical purpose if you can't eat it? Why do we have art? Why do we have music? Why do we love music? What in us loves music? It's not the biological, mechanistic laws of physics and chemistry. So what is it? Well, to me, it's this longing to want to live fully that's in us, all of us. In the fall of my 29th year of life on this plane of existence, I found my soul sitting in a wheelchair in the emergency room of a hospital, grasping for hope. Just nights before, I had been in the fetal position on my living room floor, and days after that, I had contemplated suicide. I was sitting there in that wheelchair in the hospital and said to myself, what now? And a voice from my soul spoke to me, and it said, live your life. And I've been trying to do that ever since. Live your life. Not long after that happened, a book by Carl Gustav Jung fell into my hands. The title of the book was Modern Man in Search of a Soul, where he spoke about the spiritual crisis in modern civilization. And that's what we have. We have a spiritual crisis in our country. But anyway, in one of the chapters in that book, and by the way, there's a book, Woman in Search of a Soul, and by Marion Whitman, I believe is her name. But in one section of that book, Carl Jung poses the question, what does it mean to follow Jesus? And his answer was this: live your life as truly as he lived his life. Now, there were those words I saw. Live your life. Live your own life as truly as he lived his life. So that reading, those words really changed my life, and it just really took me right out of the institutional church that I grew up in. Because I realized it was not a matter of imitating Jesus. What would Jesus do? It was a matter of me living from the core of my own being, of who I was, finding that center and living from it. You know, Bonhoeffer says, we don't live at the center, we live from it. And so the question is, how are you living? Well, what's at your center? What's at your core that's driving you? How much time do we have? Listen, Jesus' most profound, radical, empowering teaching is in 4 words. You are the light. You have the power within you to live fully. Don't let anybody take that power from you. Don't let anybody tell you you don't have it. Don't let anybody tell you you don't have it, but they do. You are the light. You have everything within you, all the wisdom you need to live a full, complete fulfilling life. You are the light. I cannot tell you how to live. No one can tell you how to live your life. No one should try to tell you how to live your life, even there are lots of people trying it. And there's no blueprint for all of us. You know, your blueprint is in here. The directions for you living your life are in here. Now, we can't think about life without thinking about death. Death and dying, and most of you may remember, some of you may remember Merle Folkler, and she said, we got that backwards. It's not death and then dying, it's dying and then death. So, I mean, we are dying every moment. And I would be insincere to tell you that I was not afraid to die, you know. I'm like Woody Allen. I'm not afraid to die. I just don't want to be there when it happens. Most of you know that we lost our daughter, Joanne, to a cancerous brain tumor 2 years ago. And I thought I knew what grief was. And I remember in my ministerial career meeting people who had lost children, and they're grieving, you know, years after. And I'm really ashamed to say that I would say to myself, you know, why don't they just get over it? That's a grief we'll never get over. You learn to live with it, but, you know, you learn the lessons from it. And one of the lessons is you learn to live each day at a time. And you learn to appreciate the life you have. Now she left behind her son Ryan, who is in our care now. And so one of the songs that Ryan and I like to sing are, "Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a beautiful feeling. Nothing is going my way." Gotcha. Gotcha. Nothing is going my way. And I say to Ryan, Ryan, if you can sing that and mean it, you're on top of the mountain. If you can say nothing goes my way, but life is wonderful. And I don't know what's going to happen today. It's a total mystery that I live each moment, each day. And I said to Diane not long after Joanne died, and I don't say her name was Joanne. Her name is still Joanne. And she's right here. She's right here. And I said to Diane, I said, you know, our world is falling apart. Our relationship is falling apart. And she said to me, think about it this way. Maybe it's all coming together. Maybe it's all coming together. You know, and that just changed my whole perspective about that. Buddhism reminds us that nothing is permanent. Everything is, we just need to learn to let go of everything. Well, I agree with that up to a point, except I would say, well, nothing is permanent, but love abides for eternity. Love abides for all eternity. And are we yet alive? That old hymn from Methodism, well, it's old for me, not them, but are we yet alive? The second part of that is, and see each other's face. I thought that was an interesting question as well. Are we yet alive and see each other's face? Which makes me think of, you know, really seeing each other for just who we are and not trying our best not to judge others. I love, one of my favorite stories from the teachings of Jesus is the Good Samaritan, which is a story about this interested compassion. You know, the Samaritan sees the wounded person on the side of the road, and he doesn't think, is he black? Is he white? Is he a she? Is he from the north or the south? Is he gay? Is he straight? Is he a liberal? Is he a Democrat? Is he a Republican? Is he this? Is he that? He doesn't do that. He's not interested in all those labels. He sees a wounded individual who is a stranger, and he reaches out to him. To me, that's seeing each other's face. We're not seeing all these identities. We're seeing, I see you as a human being. I see you as a human being, as a fellow traveler on this journey we're on. A little boy caught a bird in his hand, and he decided he would use the bird to trick the wise man of the village. So he said, okay, I'll take the bird to the wise man, and I'll prove how stupid he really is, you know. So he takes the bird, and he says, okay, I'll hold the bird in my hand, and I'll say to the wise man, is this bird dead or alive? If the wise man says it's dead, I'll release it and let it go and prove that he's wrong. If he says it's alive, I'll give it a quick squeeze, kill it, prove he's wrong either way. I've got him. Takes the bird to the wise man, does his little thing. Is this bird dead or alive in my hand? And the wise man thinks for a moment and says, it's whatever you choose it to be. It's whatever you choose it to be. Now I'm going to leave you with this thought. Life may be eternal. Life may be eternal, but we only live once. Thank you. Where are we? Closing hymn. Closing hymn. Let's stand and sing that. Join hands with someone, please. And sing with me. I'll lead you in the singing. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.